So I had an epiphany this morning, thanks to you guys, thanks to your comments on yesterday's video. If you did not see yesterday's video, it is literally less than 4 minutes long, and it made an impact as far as I'm concerned for a lot of people in seeing how things are changing from what they were just a few years ago to what they could possibly be in the next couple years, right? I will put it at the end of this video if you guys want to watch it. Basically, it's about this rest area truck stop gas station that my husband and I stopped at yesterday on our way home, because I had to use the restroom. I had to potty, I had to tinkle, I had to pee, whatever word you want to use. I wanted to stop and use the bathroom. We wanted to get a snack, right? So this one's brand new. We stopped at it, we pull in, and I realized as we were pulling in that it's probably for semi-trucks as opposed to cars, because the parking lot, one, doesn't have stripes or parking spaces, but it's got this massive area where you could do a U-turn or a turnaround in the parking lot. And then the areas where you get fuel are very, very large. So I'm guessing it's for semis. But we park anyway, and I back in like there's parking spaces there, which there weren't, but I back in like there were, and I went to go to the front door, and I realized that it was a unmanned location, right? And that you had to use your credit card for everything because it does not accept cash, and you couldn't use the bathroom unless you bought fuel out front and got a code for the bathroom. Basically, I've summed up the whole video for you. You can still watch it if you want to visually see it though, because to me, it felt really like dystopian. It felt cold. It felt sterile. It felt something futuristic. Now, some people in the comments yesterday called me, you know, a Karen and complaining about all this other stuff. And if you don't like it, don't use it. Well, no shit, Sherlock. If you don't like it, don't use it. Go somewhere else, which is exactly what we did. Because one, I had to use the bathroom and I did not need to get fuel. And I wanted a snack that didn't involve coming out of a vending machine using a credit card, because I wanted to use cash money, honey, because cash is still king in my personal opinion, but not when it comes to corporate America and things like that. And a lot of people were saying how they wouldn't go to these places, that they would rather go around behind the building and pee on the side of the wall than they would go get a few dollars in gas in order to use a code to get into a restroom. Because then you have all these different questions. How dirty are these bathrooms going to be if there's nobody in there taking care of them? What if there's already somebody in that restroom and your code opens the door? What if somebody follows you into that restroom? Looked real grapey, right? That's what a lot of people are saying, minus the G. What if you're a single female stopping there and it's the only place? Maybe you need help, maybe you need directions, maybe you have a flat tire, whatever else. Now, I understand that there's plenty of other locations to go, but when you're on these long stretches of road and they build something like this, it's in the middle of almost nowhere, it seems like it should be a place where you should be able to go and stop and use the facilities, and you can't. And I didn't like it personally. That's me. But I realized this morning, thanks to all your comments, and I've thought about this numerous times, we've talked about it numerous times as well, that the push to go cashless is huge, okay? For a while, it was, we were so worried about CBDC, central bank digital currency. And then Bitcoin came out and cryptocurrency came out. All these different things came out. And credit cards are a huge thing. Bank cards, gift cards, cash apps like Cash App and Venmo and Zelle. All these different things that are designed to use everything but cash, right? A lot of people dislike credit cards, don't like using credit cards, which is why when they go to places like where I stopped yesterday, they're like, well, I guess I'm up a creek without a paddle, right? Because I can't go in there if I don't have a credit card and all I carry is cash. Or, depending on who you are, checks. I know plenty of people who still carry a checkbook around. Most of them are grandmothers and grandfathers or of that age bracket, right? Which, I think is absolutely adorable personally. But when people are still writing checks, I think it's great. But I realized earlier today that it's not about taking your cash away from you, right? And it's not even about being able to track your purchases. Think about this. And I'm sure we've talked about this before, and maybe my brain has forgotten it, and I had a second epiphany today. I've already epiphanied it before. But it's really about these credit card companies and these banks being in bed with these businesses. Because the businesses, one, sometimes they don't want to use cash because of the higher chance of a robbery, right? Or the higher ability for something to go wrong, or an employee to pocket the cash, whatever. There's always that possibility. Or for counterfeit money to be used. Always a possibility. So you're going to have these businesses saying, well, we don't accept cash here for the safety of our employees because nobody's going to rob us for credit card receipts. All right, okay, I can see your point. Or they say, well, we don't accept cash because there's been so many counterfeit 1s and 5s and 10s and 20s and 100s all over the place, and we don't want to have to deal with that. All right, cool, I understand. That makes sense. You say, well, we don't want to take cash because what if we have people that work for us that aren't trustworthy and they're pocketing it? All right, cool, I understand that. But what it really truly comes down to is, think about this. If you need to get fuel, let's just go with fuel, or let's go with food. Let's go with the main staples of life. You want to get gas in your car. You want to get food for your family to put in your refrigerator, your pantry, or whatever. You go to the store and you want to pay cash, and they go, sorry, we don't take cash, only card. That $100, let's go easy $100 here. That $100 that you were about to spend either at the gas station inside, giving it to the attendant to go out and fill up your car, or you're about to hand over at, whether it's Walmart, Publix, wherever you happen to be, you're going to hand over that $100. That's it. That's the end of the money. It stops at 100. Okay. Well, now you go to these places like, we don't take cash. You have to use a card. Now, I never ever in my life will use my bank card at places, and I've explained it to you before, and I'm going to explain it again. I know a lot of you already know this, but maybe people don't look at it from certain angles. So let me just remind people. If you use your bank card at a location and somebody gets that information and hacks into an account or steals your card or your information, that is your personal money that's now in limbo. The money you have worked for, the money you use to pay your mortgage, your car payment, your health insurance, your kids' college tuition, your whatever else you have going on there, right? That is your money that's now being held up, and you have to prove that something has gone horribly wrong with it in order to get it back. However, if you were to use a credit card that's not tied to your bank account, like an American Express, MasterCard, Visa, whatever, if something goes wrong, there's a skimmer on the gas machine and they get your card number, or somebody steals it, or they copy it down while they're running it behind a register or whatever, that is not your personal money that gets hemmed up. You can still make your mortgage payment. You can still make your car payment, your insurance payment. And instead of having to worry about your cash being siphoned out of your account, now you let that credit card company deal with whatever's going on, right? That's how that works. It does not affect your personal money. So back to what we were saying here. If you are now going places and you're like, well, I can't pay cash and I'm not going to use my debit card because there's a high possibility of theft or a high risk using your debit card at places, I'm going to use my credit card. Not many people have a zero interest credit card. So now you go to pay for your $100 of gas or your $100 in groceries, you swipe that credit card. A lot of them, you got a 29.99% interest rate, or a certain percentage of interest that if you don't turn around and go home and immediately send money over to pay that $100 to your credit card, you're now paying interest on your $100 of gas or your $100 at the grocery store. So instead of now being able to go pay cash, you're paying all that extra interest, which goes into the pockets of the credit card companies. And that, I think personally, is why there's a push for no cash. It's not the actual safety. It's not the anything else. It's because of all of the extra money that is made by the credit card companies, by the companies themselves, for you using your credit card. The credit card companies charge businesses a percentage every time you swipe a card, which is why now, especially since COVID, you go to restaurants and they say, oh, well, if you're going to swipe a card, you're going to have to pay a 3.5% extra fee on top for that card, right? They did not used to do that. Restaurants used to eat that fee that came with using your credit cards. Well, now they don't do that anymore because they realize they're losing money. Now, if you want to use your credit card, you have to pay that 3.5% fee. That way the restaurant still gets to hold on to most of their money, but the credit card company is still making that percentage, right? That fee, which is why I think a lot of people still use their debit cards and the money that's tied to their account. I am against it personally, but you have to do what's best for you. I also, though, when I use my credit card, at the end of the day, I transfer the money over. I pay it immediately. That way I don't have to pay interest on what I'm putting on my credit card. It sucks that we have to play these games, right? Of how do we not pay the man extra money when that's their whole goal. The whole goal in taking away ability to pay cash is so that these businesses and these corporations can make more. We have these businesses, like I said, that charge 3.5% for using your credit card, but maybe these companies are also talking to the credit card companies, and the credit card companies are giving them a discount. Maybe they're only paying them 2.5%, so they're pocketing that extra 1%. You just never know what these corporations and these companies are doing. But I feel like that is another reason why there are so many places that are no longer taking cash. It is not a safety issue. It is not a counterfeit issue, as much as they will say it is. And even if it was, I could understand it. It's because you have to spend so much more money in the long run if you use your credit card. If you use your credit card to get in and to buy fuel, let's say you buy $5 of fuel just so you can get into this unmanned location so you can use a restroom because you need that code. And while you're in there, you realize that you do want something to drink and you do want something to eat. So then you use it on their vending machines. And their vending machines are not going to be as cheap as if you were to go to a manned gas station. It's going to cost you a little bit more for the convenience of it. And isn't that the most stupid thing you've ever heard in your life? Convenience of unmanned and it being right there. Anyway, so you're going to pay $3 for that soda or $3 for that bag of chips instead of $2.50 over wherever else. But you're not paying $3. You're paying the interest with whatever you use for your credit card. So once again, and then heaven forbid, you miss a payment. Well, now they're going to charge you, what, $35 for your late payment fee on top of it. So now your $3 soda and your $3 bag of chips and your $5 gas, instead of costing you $11, because I can do math, is now going to cost you $46 if you miss a payment. When you think about things like that, that's ridiculous. Then the interest on top of that. So whatever that part is, it's a whole racket, in my opinion. And I was thinking of it yesterday when I showed you guys the whole layout and the situation. I was thinking of it in a, there goes the way things used to be. And here we are moving towards a, what kind of job can you possibly get? Now you have to have a vending machine repair job or a, I don't know, lock fixing job for these doors, because now they're not going to have the people in there anymore. It's all technology and machines, right? So I was thinking to myself, this sucks, because there goes the gas station attendant that used to come out and, you know, I'll pump your gas for you, let me clean your windshield while you're here, and or the ones inside who ring you up and you get to have that conversation with. Somebody made the comment, they were like, you know, a lot of people who go to gas stations think about people who are either, they said, older and alone, or even younger and alone, or that are more introverts, but this is a way that they get to be a little extroverted by going to places and interacting with the salespeople at the registers or whatever else. You take that away, there's a lot of people who don't get to speak to other humans all day long. And I personally think it sucks to take away the ability. And again, I fully understand. I'm not stupid. If you don't like it, don't go there. But what happens when that is your only option? Because the other ones have been slowly phased out. When they keep popping up these places that take away the ability for there to be any human interaction, it's all about the profit, because now they're not having to pay anybody, they don't have to do any of this other stuff. It's all about profit, and I am not a fan of it. I don't have to be a fan of it. If you are, good for you. There are some people out there who will friggin' love it because they don't like people and they would much rather not have to deal with anybody. That's perfect for you. I feel like the majority of people would prefer the tried and true, the regular gas station that you go to now. My husband and I, we were in Georgia a couple days ago, and we had to go to a gas station, and we walked in, and he said, we're gonna make this quick. We are gonna get out of here. This place feels like something where they lure you out to a car and you never see them again. And it did. It felt like that. Didn't feel safe. And it was fully manned. Lots of people. Whereas the unmanned one, for some people, they think that feels safe. I didn't like it. I didn't think it felt safe. Anything could have happened. Anybody could have been hiding in one of those bathrooms. You just never know. Anyway, the whole push behind it really does come down to money, because money runs everything. Here I am worried about, you know, the people, and in actuality, it's all a money grab, and how you're going to end up paying more over time every time you go to a location that doesn't take cash. And now a lot of people are like, you know, they legally cannot not take cash. Well, if there's nobody there and there's no way to pay cash, what are you going to do? Like, it might not be legal in a certain sense, but I guess it depends on the state, maybe even the city. Maybe it depends on the business itself. You just never know. But it's all about the money, honey, every single time. And I thought that was absolutely crazy. It used to be I paid cash for everything when I was younger. And now if I don't have cash, I do use my credit card on places where I have to pay with card because I'm not going to use my bank card. But I prefer to pay cash everywhere. A lot of people don't even want to carry cash because it's scary to carry it. And you know, what if somebody tries to rob you? Well, they're going to rob you no matter if you have cash or not. But I mean, don't walk around with a wad of cash hanging out your pocket. That's stupid no matter who you are. But it's good to have cash to like tip people. And my husband and I were in Georgia, the hotel we stayed at, they had valet and self-parking. Self-parking costs the exact same amount as valet, but valet, you could get to it sooner. We could see it from our hotel room. It wasn't in some covered garage that we couldn't tell if anybody's touching our car or not. So we valeted. It was the exact same price. And at the end, you know, we asked the kid, hey, can we tip you? And he goes, oh, we can't take cash. You can only Cash App or Zelle us or whatever. And I'm like, that's so stupid. Who's going to stop me from giving you cash? And he literally said they will stop him. He will get in trouble if he accepts cash from anybody. It can only go through a certain app. And I'm like, that's absolutely ridiculous. But it's so they can tax it, so they can get their money off of it. Skeezy people out there. That's how I feel about that. Anyway, y'all, I love you immensely. I'm putting a link to that video somewhere around here. I have no idea where it goes once it's all said and done. Under 4 minutes if you want to take a look at that gas station I was telling you about. And until the next one, have a fabulous day. Goodbye.